Okay, this is 373, week 7, part 8. Coriolanus, once he's kicked out, it's worth thinking about the way in which, like, who you are is a product of where you are. Like, a lot of my students, like, wish they had a lot of money. They see rich people and they're like, man, I wish I had that money. But what you don't realize is that if you had that money, you'd be a different person. People usually imagine that like, when they see rich people and they're like, man, I wish I had that money, they imagine they'd be themselves in that situation. But, like, I don't think, like, in order to make that money, you have to, like, I don't know, hang out in Wall Street firms with Wall Street people all day, and, like, that would change you because they would be your friends, that would be your social group. So Coriolanus, when he gets banished, is really cut off from who he is, which means he can kind of remake himself. And so I just want to say a quick thing about some of his sort of banishment stuff. And he can remake himself, and of course he remakes himself as the enemy of Rome. On 28, Cominius describes him, because he joins up with the enemies in order to attack the city that banished him. He is their god. He leads them like a thing made by some other deity than nature. That shapes man better, and they follow him against us brats with no less confidence than boys pursuing butterflies or butchers killing flies. So he's like, I really like this line about, he leads them like a thing made by some other deity than nature. Like, he acts like some other god than God made him. And he's so powerful that he can kind of just destroy everything, because being banished really changes, because his personality, like who he is, was his relationship to his city and the people in the city. And for that reason, he drops his name. Now, of course, he started off as Caius Marcius, and then he got a new name, Coriolanus. But by the end of the play, he doesn't want people calling him Coriolanus anymore either. And it makes sense why, because he got the name Coriolanus by fighting the Volsces. And now he is a Volsci. So he refuses to be named at all. He's kind of become, you think about it, like the whole reason you have a name is because you have a civilization that you live in, and that's how people in the civilization refer to you. But Coriolanus has been kicked out of civilization, and so he doesn't really need this anymore. Coriolanus he would not answer to, forbade all names. He was a kind of nothing, titleless, till he had forged himself a name in the fire of burning Rome. So he says, he really feels like he won't allow, he's a kind of nothing. Because unplugged from his society, and it's funny because he started off being like, I will be myself no matter what. But then they banished him, and now he's like reforging himself. He's remaking himself outside of sort of the social rules. You've probably experienced this before. If you have a bunch of family and friends and you're a certain way around them, but if you leave, like if you start living in another country by yourself, then you can start acting differently, because nobody expects you to act any particular way. When you're away from your family and friends, like you're on vacation, you can be a slightly different kind of person. And Coriolanus has been severed from all of his social ties. And so he is able to kind of be a totally different kind of person. And he's a kind of nothing. And interestingly, they said he's not going to have a name until he forges a new one by attacking Rome, his home country. It's interesting that his name is Caius Marcius. Because he won the Battle of Coriolis, they call him Coriolanus. But if he wins the Battle of Rome, then his new name will be Romulus. Because Rome, if winning the Battle of Coriolis makes him Coriolanus, then winning the Battle of Rome will make him Romulus. Romulus, interestingly, is the name of the founder of Rome, which is why it's called Rome, because Romulus is the founder. So he's essentially going to be, he got kicked out of his city, but now he's going to take over this. He's going to destroy the city and take it over and name himself after that battle, and he'll be like the new founder of Rome. So like it's really the whole debates in there about rich people and poor people and class. It's about making civilization work. And what happens at the end is Coriolanus is banished from civilization. Like he's like, fuck it, none of this is working. I'm giving up on. He just gives up on all of it, and he's just he doesn't care. And what does he like to do? War. So he's gonna just turn his war powers back on them. Cool. Okay, I think I'm actually going to end this week just like 10 minutes early. I do want to say what's going to happen next is going to be a little confusing for some of you. my lecture is going to continue. I have more things to say. I've finished this. The theme I've been exploring is class and capitalism. I'm now done with that. I have successfully explored that. I've said everything I want to say. Awesome. So now I have other themes that I want to talk about. But these videos are going to change dramatically with the next one. Because what happens next is I taught this class in March. I taught this class in March of 2020. And then right in the middle of the semester, COVID hit, and they sent us all home, and I had to record videos for my students. Now, I had already watched the movie, and I had weeks with my students. We watched the movie. All these conversations I had about Coriolanus and Macbeth, I had in a live classroom in front of people. And then I went home, and like as an emergency measure, I had to make videos for my students in the spring of 2020. I didn't think I'd be reusing those. I kind of thought we'd be back to school faster than this, but now it's the spring of 2021, and here we are, and COVID is still a thing. So what's going to happen? The next time you see me, I will be 1 year younger. And because the videos that you're going to be watching next are the ones that I made 1 year ago. So just don't let them confuse you. Everything I say about Coriolanus, it's still good, but you may hear me say some things that don't make sense to you. Like I may make reference to one of our students in class. I may be like, oh, this student will really enjoy this part, but that's from a year ago, and it's a student that I had met in person. You may hear me say things like, oh boy, guys, I hope this COVID thing doesn't last more than 5 weeks. And you can laugh because it turns out that it lasted fucking 11, 12 months. Anyway, you're about to meet a version of me from 1 year ago, a professor who had never taught online before, who, like, you literally will see me filming videos by leaving like the laptop down like this, and then I get the selfie, and you'll be like, I'll show up one day and be like, guys, I got a selfie stick, let's do it with the stick. I just bought this, you'll hear me say from a year ago. So you're in some kind of weird time travel space for the next lecture, so just don't let it freak you out. You also may hear me make reference to a website that no longer exists because I had my students that semester not on Blackboard, I had them on a WordPress site. So just like just when I say things about Coriolanus, awesome. But when I make but you're gonna hear me make references to President Trump. You're gonna hear me make references to COVID being this brand new thing. You're gonna hear me make references to students that I had met in class, and I'm gonna be like, oh guys, remember when we watched that movie together? And like you didn't watch that movie with me. So it's going to be a little bit confusing and a little bit weird, but anyway, that's just how it is, and I hope it doesn't freak you out too much. So just to say it one more time, the next time you see me, I will be 1 year younger and 1 year stupider, and I will be making reference to current events that are no longer current. Do not let it freak you out. But you're going to hear me be like, I'm getting the hang of this. And like, that was because I had never made video. I'd never uploaded a video to YouTube. I mean, I guess I had one or two, but basically I had never uploaded a video to YouTube in the video. The video you're going to see next week was one of the first things I ever uploaded to YouTube. Currently, I have uploaded 630 10-minute videos to YouTube. So I'm way more experienced now than I used to be. Okay, anyway, don't let it freak you out. I love you all. I'm ending 10 minutes early today. Okay, that's it. That's the end of week 7, and next week you can see me 1 year younger. Stay in touch with me, ask me questions. I'm on the website. You still have to do discussion boards like regular, and the class hasn't changed. Just the videos were made by a guy who thought COVID was going to be over in 3 months. Whoops! All right, I'll see you then.